You're listening to the Fatboy Show on RX Radio, and oh my gosh, not long after we left the studio following yesterday's program, we came to learn that the president had assented to the Anti-Homosexuality Bill, now known as the Anti-Homosexuality Act. Well, it is now the law of the land. To be an LGBT person, to be a homosexual is now criminal offense in Uganda.
Well, it is a criminal offense, but now you cannot be convicted just because you identify as gay. You have to be found doing something wrong, like aggravated homosexuality, for you to face the law.
Okay, so can you explain to me how it applies to consenting adults? How would this law apply to consenting adults? If consenting adults were found to be engaging in a homosexual sexual act, then what happens?
Then they would have to face the law, unfortunately. But if you are an adult and you just identify as a gay person and you're not found doing anything gay-ish, then you're free. Because before, the original bill that Asman Basalira had presented was to criminalize anyone that identified as gay. But now the president took it back and was like, you know what, you have to change this and that, because we have gay people who visit the country. If you say that they are all criminals, it means that all those people cannot come home if they're Ugandans, and if they're tourists, they can't come here because now they will be criminals in this land.
Now, that's another issue of concern, tourism, because, well, not that I know a lot about gay people or gay culture, but they seem to be people that seem to enjoy life a lot. A good number of them seem to have a lot of money. They travel with their partners and go on vacations and things like that. So is that money we would want to lose out on? You know, the gay tourism money?
No, we don't. And honestly, these people take these things seriously if they know that in this country it is criminal. Because you see, I may sit here and tell you that, oh, if you identify as gay but you're not caught doing anything, you're safe. But a person who is gay is not going to listen to it like that. They're going to hear one thing: Uganda is against homosexuality, so I am not going there. So in the long run, it's us who miss out.
Now, part of why, again, this law is really toothless is it would be impossible to catch people in the act.
What if you find them in a bar kissing or hugging or doing things heterosexuals do?
Now, does the law specifically define what a homosexual act is?
I think first of all, it states that people of the same gender cannot do anything sexual together.
Right. So let's say you have a man and a man living in a house together consensually, and they are dating or whatever, they're together. There would be no way to penalize them under this law unless you specifically broke into their house and broke into their bedroom and found one of them on top of the other, or however way they happen to be having sex on this occasion. You would have to catch them in the act, which you really can't do. Because if you're a gay couple, let's say you're getting it on, you're in the bedroom, you're enjoying yourself, okay, and then you hear people break down your door. Police, police, police!
That is intrusion.
First, there is that. So there's already a breach of privacy issue there.
Yes.
And by the time you hear that noise and commotion,
you're already getting off the act.
Yeah, you're already getting off each other. You're probably scrambling to put on your pants.
Yeah.
So by the time they enter the bedroom to say, okay, we've got you, you're just going to find...
There is no sexual act.
You're just going to find two guys chilling. Right?
But how about... Because I've gone to places and sometimes you're going to see these guys holding each other's arms and sometimes maybe kissing. Does it apply there? As in, you're in a public place, you're smooching and you're of the same sex. Does it apply? But then, who is going to walk into someone's establishment and bother their patrons that, oh, we were told people here are kissing each other? Who is going to allow them in like that?
Well, depends on how much force they exert. I mean, if they came in like, hey, they could force their way in, for sure.
But is someone going to be on the lookout waiting to call Uganda police, whose number I don't even know, to come and arrest gay people that are in a certain bar? Please note, gay people are the big spenders. They do not go to, small bars. They go to high-end bars. And the people who own high-end places are normally people who know someone who knows someone who knows someone.
Yeah, I honestly don't think this law is intended to be effective. It's just moral preening. We're just trying to take a moral high ground. This is, as Ugandans, we are standing up for this, our culture and our values and our religion and all this kind of stuff. Just to make a moral pronouncement, but not so much to ever do anything actionable against people who are homosexuals. And interestingly, I don't even think Ugandans would want homosexuals to be arrested.
Ugandans don't really care.
They just want to be able to say, what you're doing is wrong, it's a sin, please stop. And that's it. I think most Ugandans are of that mentality. Am I wrong?
Yeah, but you see, you stand on your moral high ground and say that what you're doing is wrong, it is a sin. And if I'm to go back to the Bible and look at what is sinful, yes, homosexuality in the Bible is wrong, but so is adultery, and so is fornication, and so is stealing, which most of our public officials do via corruption. So you cannot say that one sin is a bigger sin than the other.
People are hypocrites, and I think they just don't see that irony. I think homosexuality provides a convenient scapegoat, because you have to be uniquely wired or conditioned to be interested in those types of acts, so that if you are a straight person, you are likely to never ever even think of engaging in a homosexual act. But if you are a straight person, you are highly likely to think of fornication, highly likely to think of adultery. Theft, and corruption.
And these are things that are not hearsays. We know public officials that are taking on different girls as their side chicks, as their mistresses and second wives. And also we know many of them embroiled in corruption scandals. So you do all that, and then you come back here and tell us that because you're gay, then you're much of a sinner than I am. That is hypocrisy.
See, because I thought most religious people understand that even from a spiritual perspective, all sins are considered equal. Like, I remember them saying stealing a pencil is the same as stealing $1 million.
That's true.
Right?
In the eyes of God, we have all sinned.
So
we have all stolen. If you sleep with your neighbor's husband and I sleep with someone's brother, it is still the same thing.
And people just don't see it that way.
They don't see it that way because we like to think that my sins are way less as compared to yours. But that's not how it works.
Well, we are clearly paying for the sin of passing this law.
And it's not going to end here because obviously, as you know, the parliament speaker's visas have been revoked.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to get to. So what of the early consequences, one of the initial consequences of the ascension of this bill has been the revocation of the visa of our Speaker of Parliament. So our Speaker of Parliament cannot be granted access to the US, as well as Asuman Basalirwa. Is Basalirwa the one who tabled this?
Yes, he moved the bill.
All right, so this is quite interesting, and apparently this is one of many more such actions to be taken.
Yeah, because the US has been telling us. Of course, there is a whole other conversation when it comes to them saying, if you don't allow this, we are going to take away this. Because, you see, I may be considerate of gay people and their rights, but I'm also, on the other side, I'm like, why are you making everything you're giving to a country dependent on the decisions they make towards the culture that you want them to adopt?
I think part of the problem for Uganda is going to be that we have a very pro-LGBT US government,
which finances pretty much everything down here.
So the Biden administration, I mean, they're Democrats, so like they're 100% behind LGBT, and not just they're like forceful in pushing it. And I think Secretary of State. The Secretary of State was asked about this before it was assented to, and he was also threatening Uganda with all kinds of things. And in order to appease their base at home, who are very pro-liberal, pro-LGBT, progressive types, they have to make strong pronouncements against this sorts of legislation as they arise around the world. And so Uganda is no exception. So they're coming out hard and suing in. And so expect even more sanctions.
Of course,
economic sanctions.
Yes, they threatened economic sanctions, especially in the realms of health where they finance about $500 billion yearly. So we stand to lose so much. But again, I'm not so worried about this, because I believe that people like Andrew Mwenda and other people like him are going to swing into action, go to court, challenge this act, and before we know it, it might be thrown out on a technicality like it was in 2014.
Yeah, so I guess one of the first things that'll happen is once it gets to Constitutional Court, won't there be some sort of injunction imposed? Like whenever a law is being contested in Constitutional Court, isn't it the case that you cannot
carry it out?
Yes. You cannot enact it.
You cannot enact it. You cannot now arrest people basing on that law. That will happen if someone goes to the Constitutional Court, but it would still have given us bad press, because right now if you're to check out, let's say, Al Jazeera, AFP, Reuters, and all those other international news agencies,
they're
everyone
screaming
is
about
exactly this. And bad press does us more harm than what an injunction that may be instituted by the Constitutional Court.
But I see it as a win-win, because ultimately when the law does get thrown out, which is very likely by the Constitutional Court, the president and his allies here will still be able to claim that they were championing the rights of Uganda. They will turn this into an anti-colonial. They'll ride the anti-colonial sentiment,
and
they'll use it.
Yes, and it will work out well for them, because we have just about 2 years remaining until the next elections.
Yeah.
So this it can still be a wind they can ride on. The speaker can be re-elected as the member of parliament in Bukedea district, and the president can probably get himself another term, or someone from the NRM party.
Yeah, and then when the law is thrown out, then of course the donor funds will return. So
yeah,
everyone's happy.
Everyone is happy.